I'll do two more films that I saw in January. And the first one I saw was, or the third one I saw, I guess, is a movie that I had seen trailers for. And I was like, oh, that looks neat. And it took me a couple months to getting around to watch it. And it's called The Paper Tigers. It's a film on Netflix. It's about three dudes who learn some form of martial arts as kids, and they have a sensei, and now they're all in their mid 40s or pushing 50. You know, they've got lives, they've got families, they have kids, they've gone their own ways, and their master dies, and so they come back together to try and regain honor of their dojo or whatever. And they're just old and tired, and their backs are hurting, and they can't really do it anymore, and they're out of practice. And
so it's a comedy.
It's a comedy, and it's a fun setup. Unfortunately for me, the humor just didn't work. It is charming as hell. The characters are utterly lovable, but I didn't find the main story particularly compelling, and the humor didn't connect with me. I think I have a copy error. I'm seeing I have a line here on my review. It says some fun violence and gore though, and it's only 80 minutes. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be attached to the previous movie, the For the Sake of Vicious, because there's no violence or gore in this movie.
Oh
no! I think I wrote that in the wrong spot. Not that this matters. Let's put that there. Yeah. So For the Sake of Vicious did have some fun violence and gore, and it's only 80 minutes, so that's great. Okay, so I was right; it was a short movie, but yeah, Paper Tigers. It was one of those movies where I was just kind of bummed out watching it because I wasn't really enjoying it. Like, this is cute, and I like these characters; they're really charming, and these actors are doing a wonderful job portraying these over-the-hill martial arts experts, and there are jokes with setups and punchlines. It's just not connecting with me. It was a frustrating watch because the humor just wasn't working for me.
I have a great story.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's about one of our least favorite movies, A Christmas Story. Okay. So I don't remember where he and I were coming home. We were in the car. I remember having this conversation in the car, and you know, it was obviously 'tis the season at some point a year or two ago. And we talked, it's one of his favorite movies. It truly is. And he just loves it. And I just don't get it. And
Wait, Jeremy?
Yes, Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a lot of people's.
I was pointing this way. You can't see that. So yeah. But the point is that we were in the car, and he was like, how could you not like it? Like,
because it's terrible.
And he said, here's the thing. He goes, take for instance the eating dinner at the Chinese food restaurant scene. And he described the scene to me because I tell him I have no recollection of this. And he describes the scene to me, and he describes it moment for moment and like beat for beat, and he's dying laughing. And not just because his laugh's contagious, but the way he's describing it, hilarious. And I'm like, I must have, okay, let's go watch it. So we pull it up on YouTube or whatever, and we watch it, and I'm like, that is not the scene you described. And he's dying laughing while I'm watching it, and I just thought to myself, and
it's also kind of uncomfortably racist.
Well, okay, so that is true, and he does know that. P.S. He knows that.
But yeah, I mean, the movie's decades old, so
but the point is, and so it's very, very poignant to your thing, is that they had jokes, they landed the jokes, they just weren't jokes for you. And that was I thought was so interesting, is that here's a scene that it's only executed one way. It is forever that is how the scene is, but what you take from it in this Chinese food restaurant or whatever they're doing, or whatever this scene is that is in the movie that you watched, is your experience of that scene, knowing your past and your histories, color that scene for you. And so he and I watch the same scene, but when he describes it to me, he's painting it with his interpretation.
Yeah.
So you can see where there are jokes. They were, and you could tell that they were supposed to be jokes.
Yes, those are jokes right there. I recognize them. They're just not funny. And to be fair, when I first saw A Christmas Story, when I was, I don't know, single-digit ages, somewhere around there, I did not pick up on the racism of that scene or any other scenes. That's only me thinking back on it, going, oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. So, you know, when I was 7 or 8 or whatever, I did not pick up on it. So, what are we talking about? Oh, the Paper Tigers. Yeah. So
about that, it just wasn't for you because there was nothing to.
Yeah, there are jokes that they just, I didn't care for most of them. They did not bring me joy. And the narrative, the story they were telling with the various issues, the interpersonal issues that the characters had, I was just like, I don't care. It's not connecting with me. There's a whole deal, you know, they went their separate ways and they had a falling out and they come back together and
like Diner or
yeah, but none of it connected with me for whatever reason. There are some good jokes. I'll tell you one. It's there's the competing dojo is their nemesis from their children is this white guy who's just way into Chinese martial arts, and he's constantly speaking Chinese to them, and none of them have any idea what the hell he's saying. They're like, speak English, please. But the guy, he isn't doing it in any, the character is not, credit to the writing and the performance, it does not come across as the character being a bigot, and it does not even come across as like cultural appropriation. It genuinely comes across as a guy who's just really into this stuff and wants to do it the best he possibly can. You know, there's an earnestness and a charm to it that, from this white guy's perspective, you know, worked.
Sure.
Your mileage may vary depending on your life experiences, but that I thought that, so it's not like there wasn't anything in the movie. I mean, there's some silly slapstick gags at work. You know, they throw a punch, oh, my back, ah ha ha, that's funny. You know, there's some good stuff, but like the final confrontation, the final fight was just, for me, completely underwhelming. I mean, it wasn't particularly funny. It wasn't particularly exciting. It was just there, and then it ended. And I was like, okay.
And when you say that about a fight sequence, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
When someone's fighting and you're like, it's gonna be over soon, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're not having a good January so far.
Yeah, not so far.
I hope it gets better.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our next movie. But before we do, I must take a restroom break because my stomach just went thwomp. I'm like, oh my. I must abscond to the restroom for a few minutes. So break.
Yes.
So all right.
Next movie.
Next. Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Oh, with the spider bite that goes.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
Go.
So it's okay.
Okay, we're getting up there. We're doing better.
Yeah. And you know what? I have the original books.
Yeah.
And
you still have them?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hey, let me go get them real quick. Do this quickly.
That's all right.
Hey.
His bedroom's right there, and he knows where things are. That's the thing. Oh, I like that I'm looking this way, thinking that I can see That's how I play video games. Did y'all know that? So when I play video games, I hold the controller and I act like I don't know what it is. I
Not as
feel
quickly as I thought, but
like I can make him jump
mildly
if I hit
quickly.
him, or if I like, yeah.
So yeah, scary
Oh my,
stories
yeah,
to
you do.
tell in the dark.
That's awesome.
I think it's yeah, scary. So here's the scary stories to tell in the dark. More scary stories to tell in the dark, and more scary stories 3. Megan, yes. But what's most notable about these is the incredible artwork.
Yes, the art, that was what made those books.
Yeah, because the stories are mostly not very good. They're mostly really dumb and silly. Some of them are actually like kind of a cool idea, but rarely do any of them really work that well. Let's see.
Is the girl with the green scarf, is that, because that's the one I think I remember the most. Okay. But she has the green ribbon around her neck. Is it a green ribbon? Maybe it's just a ribbon around her neck and I pretended it was green because that's best color. And she always had it around her neck, and the husband was like, why don't you ever take it off? And she was like, I'll never take it off or else I'll die or whatever. And he's like, oh, but you're so beautiful.
And then her head falls off.
And her head falls off. And that's the only one that is like,
maybe. I mean, I don't recall that. There's definitely there's the old scarecrow that's out there, and the two guys like bully the scarecrow, and then I think skins one of them or something like that. There's the big toe where the guy finds the big toe and then he eats it, and then someone's, who's got my big toe?
Oh, that's right. I remember that one. Yeah.
Right. And then there's something that's actually in the movie is the Me Tai Dowdy Walker, which that's a pretty great image right there. Yeah. And if I'm remembering correctly, this is about a guy who's in a house with his dog and he hears this someone singing from outside, and Me Tai Dowdy Walker. And it's like, oh, it's just someone singing. And then his dog sings back and like, litchi kitchi collie molly dingo dingo. And then this guy outside singing gets louder, Me Tai Dowdy Walker. And this dog says, litchi kitchi collie molly dingo dingo. And it goes, and you can see it right here. Yeah, with the Me Tai Dowdy Walker and litchi kitchi. The type gets bigger as they get louder. And suddenly a bloody head fell out of the chimney. It missed the fire and landed right next to the dog. The dog took one look and fell over, dead from fright. The head turned and stared at the boy. Slowly it opened its mouth and, parentheses, turn to one of your friends and scream, ah. So in the movie,
no,
yeah, so I think the big toe actually ends like that too. Who has my big toe? You've got it. Ah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the movie, they do kind of the same thing. There actually is a dog, and I'm like, oh my god, please have this dog going the litchi kitchi collie molly dingo ding. I want to see this dog singing. That's gonna be so. But so you hear this voice outside of the police station, which for some reason has a chimney. I don't know why. And they use a very Me Tai Dowdy Walker. It's that kind of throaty, gooey, low sound rather than kind of a singy voice.
Okay.
And the dog does kind of, and you can kind of maybe possibly, if you read the book and you're really looking for it, kind of hear it. I'm doing like a Glomer voice or something. You can kind of hear a litchi kitchi collie molly dingo dingo out of the dog's kind of whining.
Yeah.
And then a monster that doesn't look anything like this comes out of the chimney and chases them throughout the police station. And it's actually a really cool monster design. I think they got probably some contortionist to wear a head backwards
sure.
and then do back walks. So you have this weird thing as it's moving across the floor. It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So the premise of the film is there's a book of scary stories. So there was this weird daughter that was, they wouldn't ever let her out because she was weird or something, and so they locked her in the basement, and people would come over, and the weird kid who's locked in the basement, and they'd come to the house and they'd like talk to her through the window, and she'd tell them scary stories, and she became a legend like that until she died because they'd locked her in a damn basement. Well, apparently, like, she's upset about that, even beyond the grave. So now the book's haunted. So some kids go spend some time in the house and they get trapped in there, and then they find the book and they get out and they find that the book is writing stories that ends up killing the kids off one by one. And the stories are broadly mimicking stuff that you like, the big toe, the spider bite one, definitely the let me see if I can find it.
Well, the scarecrow one is there, right? The
scarecrow one is definitely there. Let me see. Oh, here's the big toe. That's the big toe one. But let me see if I can flip through this real quick and find it. I don't remember if any of the. I think the kids who die stay dead, which is actually pretty cool.
Out of context, that's a fantastic.
Look
if you die, you should stay dead. Yeah, that's
Well, it's one of those things where it's for kids, so you kind of wonder, okay, all the kids who die in the movie, are they just gonna, once they figure out if they return her book or something like that, all the kids come back? I don't think they do. Again, I saw this back in January, so maybe I just don't remember it. The white satin evening gown.
Remember that?
No, I was skimming through that to see if that was the. I remember that whole idea with the sash around the neck and trying to figure out if that was actually a scary story to tell in the dark, or if it's from something else. I don't remember.
I mean, what were those other?
So some of the effects are the practical effects, the makeup effects are really good. I mean, this where this film really sings is the phenomenal realizations of the art from the source material.
Yeah.
A lot of the CG is really weak, like the spider bite and the spiders that come out of the spider bite, which is a shame, but not terribly surprising, I suppose.
Sure.
It's probably going to be in the third book.
Of course.
Of course. It's in third book.
Hi.
My God, I mean, the stories are almost uniformly crap. But hey, Olivia.
Yeah.
But some of them have really neat ideas, like the idea of someone singing outside. Oh, who the hell is it? This guy? That scarecrow. This scarecrow is exactly in the movie. Now what happens? Wow. Yeah, what happens is, and it looks exactly like that. It's really wonderfully done. Sometimes, like the actual. She's in the movie too.
Oh, she's
that's a practical effect, and it is absolutely terrifying. It's really wonderful. What's funny is some of the story that they're doing is they're using the art from one story and doing a completely different story. Like the white lady there that I just showed. I don't remember what the story is, but it's not what they do in the movie.
They're just using the imagery, as many stories as possible, even
and they do a nice job of covering a lot of the more memorable tales from the books. Because I actually, while I was watching the movie, I had my book sitting next to me, and I'd pause the movie intro and skim through them trying to find the story, because they're all like 1 or 2 pages long, so I can read them really quick to get a sense of them. Yeah. And so overall, it's okay. Really, it's a showcase for the the practical effects that are realizations of these really sketchy 2D images from the books. That's just ingrained in our memories from when we were kids.
Yes, yes.
But as a film, it's just okay. I mean, it's fairly average. It's for kids. It's PG-13, so it's not doing anything too particularly gory. But the creature design really sings.
And is there a last girl, or does the book win, or
I think
or final girl?
No, there's at least one character who survives.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to me like the surviving character is doing the whole Linda Hamilton or the Sarah Connor thing at the end of Terminator, where she's in her car driving off to continue because this isn't over. I have to drive into the sunset because there's going to be more adventures ahead, kind of a thing. I don't remember why there would be, but I do remember them driving off like this is going to be a problem that only we can solve because we survived it. I think that's what my memory is telling me.
Oh.
So it's setting up for more sequels because, I mean, sure, there's more designs and my phone's on top of the book. There's more designs and more stories that they could plumb for a sequel, but I don't know how well this did.
I was gonna say I don't know if that will happen.
Yeah,
but who knows?
All right, so tell us about Matrix 4.
4. Yes, so let's talk about Matrix 4. I don't, because it is technically still pretty new and you haven't seen it, and I believe it's on your list to see, or at least
yeah, it's something I'd like to see.
I think it should be on your list to see. So I will tell you that. So that if that tells you anything. Carrie-Anne Moss still's got it, which is awesome. All right, so
I love her as Hogarth in the Netflix MCU stuff, Jessica Jones, but she's also I think she ends up in the Punisher and some of the Daredevil stuff. She plays Jerry Hogarth in the lawyer in the Marvel Netflix stuff.
So she just came into we just watched the final. Again, this is why I don't watch a lot of movies at the moment. However, we do already have our tickets for Doctor Strange. So this being said, I've seen her in one episode. I didn't know she continued because she's interviewing Foggy at the end of season 2. So we just started season 3 of Daredevil. Like we're literally on episode 1 of season 3 of Daredevil. So that's where we're
she's like
and she's hiring Foggy. So I didn't know she came back.
She's like Rosaria Dawson. She shows up here and she'll show up now and then in several of the different series.
I like that. Oh yay. So she's fantastic. Anyways, very exciting. So this movie is interesting. It is meta AF. Like if there's one thing to know about it, and I'm pretty sure that this is spoiling nothing, it calls itself out at the beginning.
There's this really weird scene in the trailer where not Morpheus is inviting Neo into a room and the Matrix is like playing on a screen in the background. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was kind of expecting meta.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this gives
Jennifer Henwick, something like that. The woman who plays I don't know what the character's name in the movie is, but she has the woman who's not Carrie-Anne. Yeah, I think she has blue hair. She plays Colleen Wing in the Iron Fist and Defenders Netflix shows. So more Marvel Netflix stuff. I actually did not recognize her at first. I was like, she looks familiar. And I looked her up. I'm like, that's Colleen from the Marvel Netflix. Yay! She does more stuff. She's good. Anyway.
Yeah, so there's a lovely scene at the beginning of the movie with Jonathan Groff, who does a great job with what he's given.
He's the not Hugo Weaving?
Yes.
Okay.
Here he is.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, he's not Hugo Weaving. He is Jonathan Groff. He is King George. La 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 da da da.
Yeah.
And he says to Keanu, Warner Brothers wanted us to make a fourth Matrix movie, or a fourth Matrix game. So the thing is it's a game, not a movie.
Okay, interesting. Because there was a Matrix video game. There was a game called Enter the Matrix, which was I think was talking. It was Nairobi, the Jada Pinkett character, and one of the other dudes from the second movie, and it was like a fill-in. Meanwhile, they were doing this stuff. I never played it, but I remember the really awkward running animations in that game from the footage I did see. I'm like, oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
And they I think the Unreal Engine 5 just had a VR Matrix demo. I'm not sure if it's a gamer experience or advertising or whatever the hell it was, but yeah. So a video game. Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I'm not going to give much more away of the plot because I want you to watch it, and I want us when it's your turn to discuss it, we can have a better conversation. But I will tell you a few things that won't hurt anything. And also, I know that I can tell you these things, they won't hurt anything because I've already told them to you back in January. So
I remember from the marketing, from the trailer, I think King George is telling him, aren't you excited to return to the Matrix?
Yeah.
So is Keanu Reeves' character, is he like the director of a series of Matrix video games, and like Warner Brothers or someone is asking him to make another one, but he doesn't want to because that series is done?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. That's a fun idea. Okay.
Basically, and then so much more.
Okay.
So,
is the Merovingian in it?
So yes, let's discuss him. These are socks that were in my pocket. Put those there.
Yeah.
So you
had a pocket full of socks, huh? Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I realized that I stole such a harsh word. I liberated two Hershey, not their
look like Reese's peanut butter cup things.
Reese's cups from my mother-in-law's, and I had them in my pocket this whole time, and then I put my socks in my pocket on top of them. And just now, for some reason, not that I'm not totally focused on you at the moment, brother, but all of a sudden I was like, I have socks in with Reese's in my pocket. I should take them out.
That's not a great combination, especially if I clap my pocket or something like that.
This is the worst, stupidest thing ever. So, to answer your question, so he's in it, and it's something that I would have mentioned here in a moment anyways, because he's in it, the actor's in it, and I'm going to pause that and go to something else. It's really very interesting I'm very happy to have rewatched the trilogy before watching the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because it was an enjoyable experience to rewatch them, but because the fourth one harkens back on so many characters. They don't necessarily have to be in the movie, but they're talked about a lot, and they are like very minute characters, ones that you may have, because it's been 20 years, forgotten about, and or ones that seem to have had an ending, but then you're like, wait a minute, that wasn't an ending at all, apparently. And so it's
the little girl of the two programs who were trying to get her out of the place on the train. Sati, I think. Why do I remember that? Am I even right? Was it Sati?
First off, all of what you said is correct.
Really?
Yes.
Yay!
And so the Merovingian is there, and so you think to yourself, oh, this is exciting to see what happened to him and everything. However,
what would his role be in this?
Awkward, maybe unnecessary, but also awfully jarring, because it was super duper obvious that he could not come to whatever set was wherever, and he was shot.
Oh, it was clear that he was filmed separately.
Yes, for whatever reason, he was in.
Might have been a COVID thing, like they couldn't get these actors together.
It could have been because I don't know exactly when it was done. It could be a COVID thing. It could have been a whole big scheduling. It could have been a lot. It could have been they did the whole thing. Actually, it wasn't it was only one of the sisters. I think.
Oh wait, only one of the Wachowskis did this movie. It's not both of them.
Yes, it's only. I think only
the other one's not dead, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just okay.
So I did look, because when I saw that it was only one of the sisters, I was like, what's the other one doing? And I looked, and she's doing a comedy show on film.
Oh, an actual running show. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably,
so
almost certainly a scheduling issue.
Busy doing something else.
Oh, good.
So I'm wondering if there was like a test audience or something, and the movie was shot without the Merovingian, and the test audience was like, that was a character that we liked. Maybe there was a way, and it was like, let's, shoehorn him in here or something, because it could have been a million reasons. But to me, it was really like, I'm not just making that up, right? Like, he's not there, right? Like, it's right. But yeah, so it brings back a lot of things. It's very interesting. I will tell you, it takes a lot of, okay, time. You're like, I'll go with you because I want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really you gotta want it.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's the thing that is the worst about it is that they do not make use of the fact that Keanu Reeves still has it. The man is 50, but like, he's John Wicking it up and doing awesome. Okay, he is doing awesome. And they spend, I was gonna make sure, yep, she was right behind me because I was gonna roll back so I could use my arms. Neo in this movie has one thing that he can do, basically, and that is he does this, and he has both hands out, both hands.
Oh.
And it's like energy force fieldish something, and that's it. So like, helicopters are coming at him. So like, poor Keanu is just like, like that's all he does. Exactly, he's just voguing, and like that's all he. And I'm just like, if I have to watch, Carrie Ann does a little bit of kicking ass, not as much as I'd like her to do, but again, she does her wonderful kick over her kick over her head to his face.
Oh, the high kick to kick someone standing like, immediately behind.
I love you and your stunt double. Or maybe she can still do that, and God bless her if she can. And congratulations to her husband. But like, so I understand that they're like, okay, our actors are also 20 years older. But like, dude, it's Keanu Reeves, yo. Even if he doesn't know how to do it, that man learns.
He will learn. Yeah.
He will make that happen. Yes, he's slower, so you're gonna have to. That's just physiology. That's just stuff that happens. But like, that was the saddest to me, especially because John Wick is so prevalent in our culture, and if he wasn't actively starring in action movies, there might be to be like, oh, he's still here, but yeah. He, like, the jig is up. He could do something, and they're not doing it. Oh, and Neil Patrick Harris is in it, gorgeous and awesome as ever. Okay. So
is Joey Pants in it?
I don't think he is.
Oh,
or I would have remembered. That is a shame. Yeah, no, he's not.
What about the Merovingian's better half? Was it Monica Bellucci?
Persephone, I think. Bellucci, and she's not in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, so there are a lot of people who are in
Like,
it.
I ain't squeezing into that damn dress again. Forget it.
Although,
I've enjoyed breathing for the last 20 years.
well, 20 years, what was here is no longer there. What was I saying about Neil Patrick Harris? Oh, he has the new architect monologues and delivers them
Like Neil Patrick Harris would.
like Neil Patrick Harris would, which is
Nice.
delightful. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's honestly though, only if you're a Matrix fan. I'll put that caveat there. Like if you are someone, I know you're not, but like just in a general like consensus, this is not a movie for someone who, if you haven't watched The Matrix, do not watch this movie. And if you didn't understand the whole, like it's counting on you already being, you know,
On board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Matrix Resurrection, is it?
No.
It's reincarnation.
It's re something.
I have it written down. I could tell you what it is because
It's on the poster next to us.
read it. Oh,
Yeah, you can see it.
It's Resurrections because it's
Resurrections. Okay.
Reloaded, Revolutions, Resurrect, and
Wait.
Plural.
Is it revolutions or is it?
That Revolutions is also plural. Reloaded, Revolutions, Resurrections.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And with the in front of them. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm yelling at everyone.
The Matrix.
You better put the, yeah, it's
not
the
Matrix, the Reloadeds.
Matrix, the Reload. No, Reloaded doesn't have an S.
Oh, it's just Reloaded.
Yeah, it's just the Reloaded, the Revolutions, the Resurrections. Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. So I watched The House, which maybe you saw a trailer. It's on Netflix. It's a stop motion animated film. It's an anthology film, and it looks kind of stylistically similar to what was the stop motion Wes Anderson one he did with the fox, Fantastic Mr. Fox or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Isle of Dogs, which is a movie that.
Oh yeah. Neither of which I've seen, even though I'm a big animation fan.
They just don't look good.
Yeah, they look awful.
Yeah, I mean they just don't look good.
Yeah, both just aesthetically and film story wise. I don't know.
Not interested.
Yeah, then again I've never sat through an entire Wes Anderson film, so maybe I just don't get it. I don't know. But anyway, The House is an anthology film that the first one stars human characters, the second one stars mice, and then the last one stars cats. And they all live in a house. But
may I ask?
Yes.
Is it one story, different points of view, or one story like same time, just a different stories, different universes? Seemingly, they all take place in a house, though. Oh, okay. I'm straws. I'm pulling at them.
Yeah. See, because in the mouse world, the house is always sized to its residents. So they're like human-sized mice, or maybe it's just a house scaled down to a mouse. Because it's not like they live in a little hole in the baseboard. No, they have couches and TVs and refrigerators and stuff. So I enjoyed. I felt each. It's an anthology. There's 3 of them. I thought they all started really, really well. And I really dug the really creepy aesthetics and the surreal atmosphere. But the ending of each individual story just left me cold. It's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt episode that's like has a real cool setup, and then the ending is just stupid. You're like, that's garbage.
It's always the beach
the
one
ending.
where they're swimming and the thing is in the water and it's coming at them and they're swimming and they get to shore and then he turns around and it goes,
beat you.
I beat you, and it goes.
That I love that though. That's actually Creep Show, but same idea.
Oh, okay.
That's I don't remember which Creep Show. It's the first one or the second one. I'm gonna guess it's the first one, the first Creep Show movie. But anyway,
so bad endings.
Yeah, the lake or something. I don't know. I kind of like that ending. That one, because I mean
Okay.
he and that one's because it pans back from there, and you see a sign in off the it's in a really overgrown area where no one, it says warning, no swimming.
Yeah.
Okay. And the guy was a sleaze anyway. He deserved it. He and the girl were the last two on the raft, and they're sleeping, and he starts molesting her in her sleep, and then she gets like torn apart from the inside, like all her skin gets ripped off, and he's like, ah! And then he makes a swim for it, and he makes it to shore. Ha, I beat you. And then the wave just eats him, which I thought was pretty great. I don't know, I liked that. Anyway, so the first story is there's mom and dad and child live in a house. Some weird old rich dude says, you have 30 seconds to decide whether to take my offer. I am going to pay you lots of money to go live in that giant mansion up on the hill, but you have to move out now and I get your house. So they're like, okay. So they move out and they move into the house, and weird things happen in the new house. And it's creepy. And there's like, the house keeps changing because there's constantly people working on it, but the people
like the
working
Winchester Mansion.
Yes, exactly. The people working on it, like they every time they come into the room, they just stop, saw. They come in the room, they just stop and turn and stare. And they're like, "Hi, what you doing?" Okay, just gonna back out slowly and leave.
As you were.
And so they wake up the next morning in the staircase. The little girl's like, I can't figure out how the hell to get down to the first floor because there's no stairs anymore. So it keeps changing. And the father and the mother are like oblivious, and the mother's constantly working on curtains, and the father is obsessed with something else. And so what happens is the mom and the father become part of the house. They literally, she turns into the drapes and he turns into a couch, and save yourself. And she and the baby, there's a baby too.
Okay.
Run out of the house and I guess die of exposure, maybe, because she's 8 years old and she's got a baby with her, and they're out in the middle of nowhere. I don't see how she survives this one, and in the case someone lucks upon them. But I also have no idea what they're trying to communicate with this story. Don't be too
eager
into your house.
Don't be too eager to take an offer of millions of dollars to switch homes.
Yeah,
be thankful for what you have. Maybe it's like an Aesop.
Yes, I'm not clear what they were going for, but it was a really unsatisfying ending. The next one, but leading up to it was really creepy and atmospheric. I liked it until the ending. It's like, and then she leaves.
Well, it's like the end of
I guess they die because that's a 6-year-old or something out in the middle of nowhere, and they die. Yeah. So the next one is the mouse one, and there's this mouse.
And it's animated, you said, yeah?
It's stop motion animated, so it's all puppets.
Oh, that's right. All right, okay.
So there's this mouse who's doing home repairs prior to having an open house so that he can sell the house. Okay, cool. And he has an open house, and then he has two people who are like, we would like to see the bed, and they're just really weird. They're not mice, they're something else. They're like ferrets or something. And they're like, we would like to see the bedroom. It's like, okay. Shows him the bedroom, and he's working on other stuff and doesn't realize they're still up there. And he goes up there and they're still there, but they're in their like pajamas and in bed. It's like, what are you? And they end up just kind of moving in, and he can't get rid of them. And it's a really interesting. It's funny and it's done well. It's this really where he's trying to be polite, but he ends up calling the police. The police come over and they're like, "But they seem to live here, don't they?" It's like, no, I want them to leave. You know, there's a lot of that shenanigans going on, and it's really well done, and it's funny and it's creepy, and then he just goes feral, I guess, and lives in the wall as a mouse or something. I'm like, okay.
And these people now live in the house, and
they invite all their family in, and I guess he just ends up living in the wall or something. And there's a side story where he's calling up his former lover, or at least someone he feels is his former lover, even though they never were, and shouldn't be calling him anyway, or something. I wasn't totally clear on what was going on. So again, I have no idea what the message of it. I don't know what they're trying to say with this, and the ending was unsatisfying. And the third one is we have a cat. There's the cat one. So there's a house like on an island, and the world is flooded because, I don't know, global warming or something.
Yeah.
And she's trying to fix the house, but no one's paying rent. At least one guy's trying to pay rent and fish. But I mean, the world seems to be flooded, so I don't know what good money's going to do. But she just wants to fix up this house and be a nice place where she can let units for different peoples. And they all are like, look, we've got to move on, and they build a boat and they all leave her behind. And then it turns out one of them like fixed the house to make it transform into a boat, and then she transforms the house into a boat and then sails after her friends. It's like, okay, this one's a little bit closer to a message of, you know, the important thing is your friends and family and loved ones. You know, it's okay to let go of physical things that are just stuff and be with things that are alive, that are more important. You know, sometimes you have to let go to the thing that you're attached to, but is not as important. So that one, I feel like there's an actual message here, but it was still just not a real satisfying
especially
story.
Going in that order already, you're just like,
I'm like, okay, sure. But there is a choreographed musical number with bugs, so that's pretty cool. I love that.
Really cool.
If you're really into animation, there's a lot of really interesting things. And if you like creepy, surreal stuff, it hits a lot of those notes. And every story starts well, but to me anyway, they ended very unsatisfyingly, all three of them. So yeah, kind of a disappointment for me. So next on my list, the